The back of the book method, which a majority of electricians, that's what they learn. I mean,
Yeah.
it's passable. You get it. You can find stuff. There's and hopefully you're good with terminology. Then you get really good at the back
Yeah.
of the book method because you're picking a word and hoping that word takes you there, as opposed to understanding where things are. It's whole two different things. One is
Yeah.
I hope it's here. Let me look for where it takes me, as opposed to this is where it belongs.
Oh yeah. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Young Electrician Podcast. My name is Ruben Young, aka the Young Electrician. Here on this podcast, we like to see electricians grow, not just in the field, but also in their personal lives. We believe that your work and your home life should complement each other and not compete. So, with that said, today I again have the privilege of having Sergio Cortez, owner, founder, operator of Surge Electrical Training. Serge, what is up?
Doing great out here. Doing great out here. Great to be back. Thank you for having me again. I think we had a great conversation last time we spoke, and excited for today. But thank you, and congratulations for big things going on in your life as well. Looking forward to this conversation.
Heck yeah, thank you, Serge. I appreciate that. Yeah, your episode is actually the number one episode on the podcast.
Wow, wow. Well, I'm ready to give
Yeah.
some more secrets. I mean, I'm like the snitch of the code right now, man.
You have to start wearing a mask, man. You're like that
I'm
you remember
telling you,
that
man.
magician remember that magician back in the day on like Channel 11 used to give away all the those magic tricks and stuff. People
That
wanted
that's
him killed.
that's me right there. I'm telling you, man. I
So,
got the NEC mafia coming down and coming behind me,
heck
trying to tell
yeah,
me to calm down. You know,
he knows too much.
he gives out too much.
It's good though, man. It's good. I've had people reaching out to me, man. They really appreciate the episode. They really appreciate the clips because these people they really want to get certified. And, we have things that intimidate us. What the heck is on the test? I don't know. So yeah, so it was good, Serge. I genuinely appreciate you. The listeners appreciate you. So looking forward to this conversation as well. So I want to ask, you just got back from, was it New York?
New York City had an amazing weekend out there with Energize Us, and really, where I met had four other team members out there. They flew us out there to really be able to connect, to make sure that we're on the right track, because the school is starting and we're really hitting the ground running. And it was amazing to meet the sponsors, meet the other team members, be able to really ensure that we're all on the same path, the same mindset, and really just to bond and grow. But it was amazing. We were up on the Times Square screen for the first commercial for Energize Us EDU.
Oh, I seen
Uh,
that.
it was
That
just
was cool.
it was amazing time.
Thanks to Electric Time. Is that Electric Time? I felt like I was there. I dude just like interviewed everybody. I was like, much respect, dude.
Oh,
You have like a
totally.
dude, you got a seminar in the background. Like I hear the guy talking and he's just he's just like doing his thing,
you know
recording his little video.
he's amazing. Steve's one of those guys that his heart is all about the
Yeah,
electricians. He's an electrician's electrician, but he just wants to get back. So it was amazing being able to meet him there and seeing all
yeah,
those other contractors from the East Coast that showed up. And man, it was such a great time. But it was also really planning for growth too. Growth
yeah.
convention July 1st to 3rd coming up, and it's going to be exciting to have everyone there.
Yeah, I've been telling people, man, like people are reaching out. They're telling me, I want to know the Surge Electrical method. I'm like, dude, the best way to know it, go to the convention. Burbank, he's gonna
I'll be
teach
there
it.
for 3 days. I'll be giving out. All you gotta do is buy a ticket, come on in, come see me. I'm gonna have a morning session, afternoon session. I'm gonna have a booth out there. I've got some swag. I've got some stickers. I've got the
Yeah,
Surge method really, on display. This is about learning a whole new method that makes code easier to relate to, because it really drives home what the code's about,
yeah,
and how to maneuver through a very complicated book. That's what it is.
yeah. Look, and this doesn't just have to do with getting your journeyman certification. This is used for the master's exam, any other electrical exam where the code book's going to be out. I mean, it's all the
Any
same.
any exam that uses the code book, it has an open book exam, and And this is where, for me, this is a method that you could use anywhere. I take tests all over the country. I use the same method. I use a
Yeah.
surge method on everything, and now we're going to start applying the surge method to other trades. So look forward to
Oh,
bringing that on.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's really about understanding how a book is written to know where
Yeah.
things are in that book when you need to know
Yeah.
something fast. Because every book that's written for the trades is written by the tradesmen. So we all think
Okay.
alike, our
Yeah.
and we do things subconsciously because this is how we have a certain, steps that we do on a job site. And they end up putting these right into how they write the books. It formats the same. It is amazing when you start looking at it that way. Makes sense.
Yeah. I've been trying off our last conversation, looking at it, and it's funny, and to my own shame, I've never looked at the table of contents really when I'm when I was testing in the like I got my tabs in my book, right? And I learned the back of the book method, and just I was just trying to get really fast at navigating so I could pass the exam. And that was it. I was focusing on the NEC so I could pass the exam. That was it. And so I go back and I'm looking through right now, and my first tab is the index or the definitions. So I don't really go further to the beginning past that point. And then the other day I was sitting down studying, just going through the NEC, and I was like, sure, let me look back at the table of contents. I was like, oh my goodness, dude. I had a question. I was going over some test questions, and it took me maybe 45 seconds to a minute to find it with the back of the book method. And then I went to the table of contents, and literally what I was looking for was right there. It literally just said the name of the thing I was looking for, and I turned to the page, and I was like, "Oh my god, that was 15 seconds. That was 15 seconds to find a question." And I passed the exam without knowing that, so I'm pretty awesome. But I was like, "Wow, I wish I would have used that."
And the back of the book method, which a majority of electricians, that's what they learn. I mean,
Yeah,
it's passable. You get it. You can find stuff. There's and hopefully you're good with terminology. Then you get really good at the back
yeah,
of the book method because you're picking a word and hoping that word takes you there, as opposed to uh, understanding where things are. It's whole two different things. One is
yeah.
I hope it's here. Let me look for where it takes me, as opposed to this is where it belongs.
Oh yeah,
And I
yeah,
have a lot of purists. There's a lot of code, uh, you know, coach instructors that are purists. They have their belief is, oh, you have to spend a lot of time to learn the table of contents. Well, teach them. Why aren't
yeah,
we teaching it instead of what I can teach someone within 8 hours, a full 8 hours, how to, and probably within the first two, they get it. But in a full 8 hours, I can teach
yeah,
someone that doesn't know any code, how to find things in the code really fast and where things belong and understand the layout of the code book and understand why it belongs here and be able to know that, they can find anything really fast within 8 hours without having to, because of the keyword index. Well, I don't need 8 hours to teach you that. I'll give you 5 minutes. Hey, pick a word, go to the back. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's how we've taught code for the most part. This is just a different angle. This is really looking at the code as if it's a job site or a job process. Hey, what job site you're on? We'll tell you what chapter you should be looking for your answers, and
Yeah.
it becomes very natural that way.
But that seems to be the beneficial thing for someone that actually wants to like move forward, not just passing an exam, but actually understanding either what they're doing on the job site or maybe they want to do some work on their own,
That
and to be able
the
to,
funny thing is you hit that nail on the head. You're right. It's not learning code for the test. It's learning code for life, for work.
yeah,
And here's another kind of strange thing that's been happening as of late is that I now get journeymen that come to my classes, like estimators, people that already have their JW years ago, and
no,
they want to come and really be able to find things.
yeah,
So I'm able to give them CU credits for it. They come to my class,
yeah,
and they're learning really how to find things faster and for work, or they're trying to look for a reference for to debate an
yeah.
inspector. And so they're coming to my classes now, and they'll tell me, "Hey, I'm already certified. I'm just here I want to get faster at moving around this book." And that's why as of late, to me, that's always
Yeah,
it's great, but it's strange for me, because there's someone that already passed their test.
that's
Now they're coming
funny.
back because they want to learn the process to get faster.
But I think that's the reality though, because for me, when I started kind of just doing YouTube videos and this podcast and whatever, my focus isn't so you could know the code book. Honestly, You know, maybe that's not a good thing. I don't care. Guys need a raise. Guys need to move up in their field. Guys need to, feed their families, right? And that certificate's holding them back. I'm like, dude, this is what you need to pass the exam. I'm not going to teach you how to be a good electrician or navigate the code book well, or just, understand that. This is what you need to pass.
That's
So
right.
having the way that you teach it and coupling that together, and it doesn't seem like you're doing it in 2 days. It's not like you got to take some 6-month course to
Exactly.
understand,
Exactly. I have these instructors that'll tell me, hey, I teach code, and they sign up for my 4-year class. I'm like, 4 years of
4 years.
class.
I'm not doing anything for 4 years.
Give me 8 hours. I'll teach you how to do in 16 hours, by the way. I can teach you how to do full service calcs, motor calcs, Ohm's law. And then I'm gonna teach you all the code in 16 hours. And that's all I need. And literally, that's the beginning of someone's, understanding code, understanding theory. I do that in 16 hours. I do that in 2 days. I get you ready for any test. Now, granted, people learn different. Some are going to grab that really quick. Some it takes a bit longer to process. But this course is about really kind of laying it all on the line, saying, here it is. Feast away. Feast away. But if whatever you miss, come back again for free on the next road.
Oh yeah.
On the next weekend, because you already paid for it. Come on back again and get that refresher. And now a lot of things start to make connections. I get it now. And because 16 hours can be really can be overwhelming for some people, because I'm just giving you everything I've got. I throw the kitchen sink at you. I throw everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes like, whoa, it's a lot. But,
that's a little much, bro.
And I've had students say, hey, why don't you turn this into a weekly course, into like a full week? And I'd love to do that, but people got to work during the week, and it starts to get more expensive. I'm here to give you value, to give you the shot here, and make sure that number one, we can, it's affordable, that it's that people can come in, and that affordable price is going to change your life.
Yeah.
You invest a little bit here, but you'll make that money back the first year you get your raise. I'm telling you, that's the way it works.
Heck yeah, it's a big difference, man. It's a huge difference, especially when you start getting pay increases, you start getting job offers.
I've had
some people that
it's huge. I've had a guy that came into my class, took the test, called me up, said, I went from making $30 and now I'm making $110 an hour. And that's that's a huge life difference. I was like, slip me a couple hundred,
I take tips.
I take tips. I take tips. I've actually showed up before, because when people know where I'm at, when they come to my facility or my classes, I've come before and had on a Monday morning a bottle of tequila from someone that passed or something, that they'll leave a gift on the door. And so sometimes when I see like a plastic bag or kind of like a any kind of bag near the door, I'm like, ooh, that might be a gift or it might be trash. I don't know yet, but I'm gonna invest.
Heck yeah, just leave a bag of cash near the door. That's what I tell guys that I help out at my job. So I'm like, look, dude, I don't ask for much, just half your first paycheck. No, I'm playing. But
it's only cash.
Heck yeah. No, that's cool, man. Where that guy must be in like San Francisco or something, right? Someone in the Bay.
Yes, that's the Bay.
Expensive to live out there, so you need $110 an hour minimum to live in San Francisco.
Even those that make that can't afford San Fran. They're like, I'll drive 2 hours to make $110 an hour. That right now, the rate 110, 112 in the city right now. On some of the new contracts. I think the average wage in the Bay for prevailing wage JWs is up to, I want to say, it went from 78 to $84.
Yeah.
So that's prevailing wage for any electrician. Union, non-union, doesn't matter. Prevailing wage for JW.
It's beautiful, man. Yeah. All right. So hey, let me ask. So let's say, because there's a lot of people that want to get certified, that are intimidated to get certified. Let's say somebody has. Let's start off with here. What's on the journeyman exam? Like, if you could just break it down, what is on the journeyman exam test?
Well, here in California, they've got number one, they've got blueprint reading.
Good.
So they're gonna have terminology on there. They're gonna have some actual some schematics, if you will. They'll say, what does this symbol mean? They also are gonna have questions such as, what does AFF stand for? Above finished floor. That's a code term. What is UON stand for? Unless otherwise noted. Another blueprint
Yeah.
term. So that's one component. Then they have the general knowledge component. They'll put in some troubleshooting questions. When testing a receptor or when testing a switch and the power is on, and you have your voltmeter across the two terminals of a switch, and your breaker is on, what's the voltage?
Yeah.
Which would be zero, because it's a voltmeter doesn't actually check voltage. It checks the difference of polarity between 2 points. So
Yeah.
there's questions like that. There's questions of, how to use the right equipment, the right testing equipment, such as
Yeah.
what is the best meter to use when checking motor leads and insulation on the conductors. Which would be a Megger or a magometer. And then we've got questions such as arc flash. There's going to be some arc flash questions in there. They give you the arc flash book. The NFPA 70E comes with the exam, and they're going to give you safety, OSHA. That's some chunk right there. They give you some OSHA questions such as the ratings of of your safety glasses. Who rates them? Oh, ANSI, Z87. What is the when do you test your gloves? That's an arc flash question. Every 6 months. Those questions are there. Plus code. Then they're going to slam in a whole bunch of code in there with very minimal math. I maybe had one student that's come in all of my teaching that said, I've had a bunch of math on my test. But most students will tell me, and even when I test 2 to 3 times a year. There's very minimal math on the exams that I've taken in California. There's some math in there, but if you're really good at code, you could pretty much fill all the math you want. You got it.
I felt like I had a lot of math on both of the quizzes that I took, both the exams. But maybe I was inflating it in my head because I was a little overwhelmed. But yeah,
And it could be, but if you think about it, out of 100 questions, I guarantee you're probably not going to get more than 15 questions math.
Yeah, so you could fail them all. Find the other answers. You're good.
As long as you're good with code. Most people think they're really good at code, but they get trapped by code. What I call, their what they'll do, it's called code trickery. they read a question, they're right there, and they'll get the wrong answer because they didn't read the next line over. They were trapped by the old 1, 2. Oh, the first number instead of the second number. These are tricks that they use to even though you're in the article, you still get the wrong answer.
Yeah. Read the entire question.
Read, match, guarantee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See it, guarantee it. I'm matching word for word, or this makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read the whole thing, including exceptions in case it doesn't change what the question wants.
I did that a lot in my practice tests and failing practice tests because I'm not reading the entire question. My ADHD kicks in. I'm like every other word. I learned my lesson. Read the entire question. Read the answers.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Read the entire question, read the answers, and then go look. A lot of us, what we do, we read the question, and then boom, we're off. And then we don't even know what we're looking for. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, read the question and read the answers, because guess what? Sometimes the answers are a clue to where it's at. That's the cool thing about it. I'm reading a question, but I don't know what this question says. Then all of a sudden the answer, you see grounding. Oh, this is a grounding question. Makes sense. There's clues everywhere in that question. Sometimes the clues are in the answer.
Oh yeah. Sometimes they give you those the charts or whatever to go look at, the tables to go look at. It's like, oh, this is easy. I'll just flip to these tables.
Now, exactly. It's like you give me the reference to the table. Let me see what table's right. I agree.
Yeah. Screw the back of the book. I'm going to the table. That's cool.
You got to go to the source. You got to go to the source.
Yeah, that's good. Man, anybody listening, just take that audio, transcribe it into some regular words and study that.
I'm telling you, think of it this way. The back of the book is what I call gossip. Hopefully you get the right one and it takes you there. Because you know how gossip is. When you hear some gossip, a little bit of be true, and the rest is all lies.
Yeah.
Well, if you pick the wrong word and you go to the back of the code book, and now you're gonna be looking all over the place. as opposed to go straight to the source, go straight to reference, go straight to the horse's mouth, or the front of the book. It's right there. It's not gossip. It's fact. Here it is. Go there. Tells you exactly where to go. But a lot of us don't understand the breakdown of questions, the primary and the secondary part of questions that really are giving us all the clues that say, hey, by the way, go over here. This is where it belongs.
Yeah. And it's going through those practice tests to really help you kind of solidify that in your mind.
Oh, exactly, because you start to see them.
Yeah. Start getting familiar with it. All right, so let me ask you another question. Let's say somebody's like, man, I gotta pass the exam next month, right? I just got approved for it. I set my date for next month. I got 1 month to pass. Got to feed my family, right? I'm not pushing this out. What would be your recommendation on the amount of time that they put into studying? Dude's working 40 plus hours a week, got a wife and kids. What are you saying? Like, hey, this much amount of time, a day or a week, like you should minimum put in to studying?
Well, this is the way I feel about it. Because if someone says, hey, I got a month, I've already felt that right there. I felt they're limiting their ability to study. They're now giving themselves a limitation. Code doesn't work that way. Processing of questions is very, it's an individual thing, where some students the way they process might be really fast, and some other students it might take a little time. I tell my students this: if you really want to pass this test the first time, you're going to come to a course, whether it's mine or any other course. You're going to go to a course, and you'll know really fast if you are ready or not. When people come to my class, they'll set their and this is where I feel the mistake is, they'll set their date for like the week after my class. Like, oh, I'm gonna go to Sergio's class, and the week after I'm gonna take my test. They come to my class and they find out how much more they got to study, and now they got a week. The pressure's on. Now you're let's take that pressure off. I always tell my students, hey, you've got 48 hours to switch the test date. Come to my class. If you're feeling good and you've seen all the points, and now you'll know real quick by Sunday if you're up to speed. If not, push that test over as fast as you can, because I would rather push a test over a month than have to retake, give my money, and then come back in 3 more months. Hey, push it off a little bit more. Come into my class again as a refresher for free. Have at least 45 days in there is what I would say typically would be the best time. Give yourself 45 days, because if you come to my class and you learn it, but you don't go and use it and practice it, you'll forget everything that you learned Saturday, Sunday by Thursday, Friday of the next week. You know what I mean? Because you have to be in it. You have to be in it. And if I hear all the excuses, I work late, I do this, I do that. You've got to get in there and study. You got to give me 2 hours a day. Don't do more than 2. Your brain turns to mush. But if you're doing it for half hour, it's not enough. 2 good solid hours. Do these things, and you will learn code.
Yeah. Do you want to pass, or do you just want to take the test?
Exactly. And you've got to put the work in, because it's a tough test. It really is. It's not one of those where you can learn just enough and pass. It's like you've got to know code to pass this test.
Yeah.
And I've had students that that struggle. They struggle because they don't have the time. They come for 2 days. They're like, all happy and excited. Then they stop studying by Tuesday, and all of a sudden now they're backed up when it comes to take the test, and then they hit the books, and now they're back to cold. You've got to stay warmed up. You've got to be in the test. You've got to be in it every day until you actually take that test. If you're not hitting the books every day, your chances just keep getting lower and lower.
Yep. That's an actually excellent answer, man. I'm glad you gave that answer. I didn't know what you were going to say, but I'm glad you gave that answer, because when I took the week accelerated course, after I failed the first time, I went to a course and I had it set for a week after, and then I failed their little practice exam at the end. I mean, I was tired. It was after an 8-hour class. They gave me I don't know, I think it was like 100 questions or whatever, and so I went and I did it. I failed. I failed their test, and I was like, I'm setting it back 2 weeks. I need to give myself 2 weeks to go over everything again. And I'm glad I did. Yeah, I guess you can't rush it. You got to give yourself the proper
Yeah.
amount of time.
You can't rush it because already the pressure, you're going to feel the pressure enough. Most when it comes to studying, don't put yourself in a corner and say, I only have this limited amount of time. I tell students, because I have students that call me and they're like, I want to take your exam prep course. And I'll ask them, are you signed up for an exam already? And they'll say, no, I'm about to sign up. Or they'll tell me this, you know, I'll call you when I sign up. I'll
Yeah.
tell them this, listen, sign up now, give yourself plenty of time to study. Everything will come into play when you get approved. But if you're not studying now,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're going to rush yourself. You're going to try to rush into studying. It doesn't work that way. You have to have you have to be ready to take that exam. Start now, start practicing, processing. And when the test comes, and you get your date, come back again for another one of my classes and you're ready to go. And now you're not limiting yourself. You're not putting pressure on yourself. There's enough pressure coming in from the exam, and that pressure, it changed the way your thought process is. Give yourself plenty of clear time so you have clarity and you're not rushed. Being
Yeah.
rushed to study, I think, is the worst thing.
Oh,
Give
yeah.
yourself time. Give yourself time. For me, 45 days minimum.
Yeah. I think 80%, 90% of the people I talk to, and I was in the camp too. It's like, I'm going to start studying as soon as I get approved or as soon as I set my date. And I don't know why we tell ourselves that. I still talk to people to this day that are like, oh, as soon as I get my date, I'll start studying. And yeah, that's probably not good advice. Not a good method. That's a good answer.
But do you see how that actually limits what you need to learn? I
Yeah.
mean, you're put a time limit on there, and yet under the code is such a complex thing that you know even 45 days is it's right there, but you've got to have at least some time to process. You got to practice. You've got to get into the code. And, if you're not doing it now, but if you're finding I'm going to start on this date, it's like a diet,
Yeah.
most of the I'm not
Yeah.
starting my diet till Monday. How many Mondays passed before? I haven't started mine. I've been saying that for a year now.
Heck yeah. Come on, Serge.
Cookies are calling me. I can't help myself,
Heck yeah. I dig it, man. I dig it. All right. So let's say you say you take multiple exams a year. What do you do to prepare? Like what you don't have to give all your secrets, but what does your study time look like prepping for an exam? I know you teach this stuff, so probably gonna be a little different, but I just want to know what does your studying time look like?
I'll be honest with you. The only time I've studied that I had to put some extra study time in is when I take a master's exam. And that typically is I'll go over certain parts of calculations that I don't like to do, like transformers. I hate transformer math, but it's one of those where I kind of key in on those and make sure that I get my calc stuff ready. And that's about a week for me. I'll study on Monday through Friday just to make sure my calcs are good and right before to be fresh for any master exam. But typically that's the only time I study extra would be like for master math, because I wanna get those down, and I always want to be prepared for because master exams are a little bit trickier on some of the calculations they use. And so I'll spend a week on those, but the rest of code, I've got code down. And even my students, once they understand the surge method, you don't have code is down. Oh, here's the word. This word belongs here. And I don't study so much the code because I'm always in the code. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I am all whether I'm preparing for an exam prep course, right there, I'm studying. My giving the course itself is for me is repetition. It's key.
Yeah.
It is all that is my study time, really.
I dig it, man. Yeah, I mean, you're teaching this all the time, so it's basically constant studying right there.
Exactly. And sometimes I'll be honest with you, sometimes I'll be in my office late at night because I'm doing some paperwork and I will put on I'll put on one of the NCCR exams and I'll do speed code. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
I'll see how fast I can find a question. I'll put a little timer on and I only do it for about an hour. And I want to see how many I can actually find, and I'll just start click, 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 click. And I'm just flashing the code book because I want to see and read it. And then they're all self-test, which is really cool. NCCR website has an amazing exam prep course that they do just on practice questions. So it's really cool because they do the timed ones and the untimed. And so I'll go there and I'll put a time one and I just go through it just to see, how fast I'm finding some of these. And I do that more for fun because I'm testing myself to get better and better and better. And it's just it becomes natural for me now to do that because I really enjoy seeing all these different methods to get faster and faster in the code. Every year I'll find something new that makes it faster to do one of these, whether it's a table or and it's amazing that even as being so long in the trade that I still, even in code, can find a new clue. Like, oh wow, I just
Oh
noticed
yeah.
this. And once I start seeing those clues, it just, faster and faster.
It's a big book, man. There's a lot to
It
there's a
is.
lot of secrets in there.
There's a lot of secrets in there, and there's a lot of in code questions. I'm always analyzing code questions, because it doesn't matter how they ask you. It doesn't matter what question or how they ask you, you can find it. When it's a bad question, is when, hey, you're not giving me enough clues. That's a good luck question. You're setting me up to fail. And the exam does that too. There's some bad questions in there. But for the most part, most of these code questions, they have clues in there. They have a primary clue and a secondary clue. And that should take you right to where the answer is understand the table of contents.
Yeah, that's something to know. They have some questions in there to waste your time.
Oh, completely. You also have to know that. You have to know when you're in a question like, oh, they're trying to get me here. Let me mark it off and go.
Yeah.
When you understand
move on.
Exactly. When you understand that when you read a question and you already know they're trying to get me here, why am I gonna be tricked? Answer, move on. I don't even care about that question. I got 30 questions I don't care about.
Yep.
I'm gonna go find the 70 I need to find.
Okay. When I took my exam, I passed an hour early. So because I was studying the code book religiously for a good amount of time before testing. So in the last hour, I went back and there were like 13 questions that I wasn't 100% sure about. And I was able to correct them, the majority of them. So by the end of the exam, there was 2 questions I just couldn't find. And I was like, I can deal with that. I can deal with that. I just want the certification. I couldn't find them, dude. It was 2 code questions that I could just, for the life of me, could not find them. And I'm like, went back to all the other questions. I was like, man, I got the majority of these right. I'm moving on.
I call those ego busters, because we as electricians have very high egos.
Oh, heck
it's amazing. I mean, I'm telling you, we're stuck up. I love it. We're stuck up.
We're flipping awesome. That's why.
I'm telling you, but we're the kind of trade that's like, I've got to find the answer to this. We don't want to walk away, but in the test, I have to teach people, like, you've got to let this question go.
Yeah.
I look at a question, I'm like, oh, that's a hard question. Who cares? Let me go find, if I got time, I'll come back. And sometimes I don't even go back because I don't want to. I'll leave a test because I got my pass. Why, I've got nothing to prove at this time in my life. I've proven to myself that I could do this. I've proven to the industry I can do this. I don't got to sit there and answer all 100 questions perfectly. I just got to give the ones that I need so I can get my whatever I need to get and go home, but there's some students that are so, I want to get 100. Well, good luck. But I'll tell you what, once you get 70 perfect ones, you got your 100. Everything else is bonus. Now you're just fighting yourself.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between certain people. It's like certain people just want to get everything perfectly. And it's like, dude, I just want this certificate.
Exactly. I mean,
I don't want 100%. I don't need the bragging rights.
That 70 is 100%. I mean, you'll never know what you get. You'll know when you don't pass, but you'll never know when you pass. They're not going to let you know because
I wish they would. Well, I wanted to know. I'll be honest. I wanted to know.
Sometimes I think this would be great to know, and then sometimes I think I'm good just knowing that everything's good. Because think of this way: if someone came with a job, for a job, and you're hiring them, and you're asking them, well, what grade did you get on your GW? And someone says 70, another guy says 92. In your mind, who would you want to hire?
The 92 guy?
Automatically, whether they're good workers or not. But do you see how that right there could change the way we think? As opposed to, hey, you got a passing grade, it puts everything on the level field. And so I'm happy for that because I'm a 70 kind of guy. If you tell me you need a 70, I'm gonna get you that 70, because
Heck
I'm
yeah.
all about strategy. I want to work smart, not hard.
That's
It's
right.
what I want to do. And it happens that, that where when it comes to the industry, where we get to be able to see, hey, you did enough to be able to pass this really tough, complex exam, you're good to go. Now,
Yeah.
anything after that is bonus, but I
Yeah.
do that for every test. No matter what test you give me, I'm going to ask you, what percent do you need? I'm going to give you that because I want to give you that and I want to go home early. I don't want to sit here and
Heck yeah.
sit here for 4 hours if I don't have to.
Yeah, when I did the C10 exam, both of them, I think I passed them like in an hour and a half or something. I looked at the clock and it was like 3 hours left. I was like, I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm gonna sit here for 3 hours. I'm bored. It was a
Exactly.
boring test. I was bored out of my mind. I was like, I'm
It's
getting out of here.
that business law is boring as heck. Oh my gosh.
Goodness gracious, that thing was boring. Yeah. I can't believe people do them both in one day. I did them a week apart.
Yeah.
I was like, I would be so bored. I would probably just walk out on the second one. Just give up. I'll be back.
I need
Um,
coffee. I need coffee after
yeah,
do it in one shot. I split them up into two exactly because I was like, it's
yeah.
too much.
I'm just my ADHD kicks in. I'm like, screw this. Is it that important?
Do I really have to do this? I'm with you.
Yeah, yeah. I could. I mean, you got so many. You could at C10. You could retake it as many times as you want in 18 months. I'll be back. Take my
Yeah.
$100.
And that's what a lot of people will tell me. They're like, hey, should I go for the C10 or because I heard the C10 is easier than the JW? And my response is always like, hey, are you going to be a contractor? Because if you're not going to be a contractor, why are you going to take that test? Because it means
Yeah,
nothing. They're like,
no
well, I
one's gonna
heard it's
hire
a
you.
JW. It is a JW, but only if you're working for yourself. It doesn't.
Yep.
You don't get a C10 and then use it as a JW working for someone else. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But people have tried. People have tried.
Yep. Doesn't work that way. Then maybe I'll sub some out to you, but that's
That's
about it.
a,
So, no, in your exams, last time you were talking about your courses, you said you were working on some like on-demand courses or something like that. Is that still a thing you're still working
Yes,
towards?
yes. I'm working on a 40-hour on-demand course, which is a 40-hour master the NEC, crack the code course, which is really, kind of a on-demand course where you're able to do this from home and go chapter by chapter. It's got about 11 modules. Thing's awesome. That's almost ready to go. It will be completed in about another 30 days. 40 hours of video on demand takes so long. It is absolutely,
1,000 hours in real life.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting to learn that part. I've got a on-demand course also that's close to completion now. It's a 4-hour introductory course, which will be this one is being set up for a organization out there in LA.
Okay.
NLCAA, and I think they're also CET. They're the same school.
Okay.
It'll be a 4-hour introductory course to the code before they actually start their ET classes, and then my exam prep course will also be carried by them. As part of their one of their courses that's going to be available. So their students will be able to come into my exam prep course and attend online as well from LA.
Nice. That's awesome. That's cool. All right. So that's cool. That's a little bit of the future of the Surge Electrical trading. I want to ask you, what is in your mind, your vision, your dream? What's the future of Surge Electrical trading like? What's your vision for it? What do you want it to be?
Great question. So lately, I signed on to with Energize Us ED Inc. as their vice president of education, which will be taking. Not only am I going to be ensuring the curriculum is aggressive and progressive when it comes to electrical and renewable energies, solar and so forth, but also being able to utilize the surge method and my training methods in the curriculum. So I see SET really growing nationally. I really am pursuing doing more seminars on a national scale to be able to get the surge method out there. You know, uh, in California, great. I've got my crew here and my courses I do here. But for me, I always think, how can I get this out there so that everyone gets to have the benefit of understanding this method and really being able to, uncomplicate the code. I
Yeah.
think everyone deserves a shot at that. So besides, SET now growing, becoming more of a national training center, becoming more me traveling more, doing more seminars. I've got a really good relationship I'm coming with on big battery. So understanding how to, batteries are the newest, are going to be the next best thing. We see them now being more and more installed in houses in California, by the way, new construction.
Yeah.
Every house needs to have a battery. That's a regulation. So understanding how to hook them up and how they're so versatile in renewable energy, for me is going to be really key to growth, is being able to move up in different training platforms in renewable energies and using my methods and the way I teach to teach these different type of courses that are going to be coming up. So I'm excited about SCT. We're growing on a national scale.
That's awesome, man. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see your growth, see where this goes. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked to see it. I'm excited about what you're doing right now. I mean, just getting to talk to you last time and getting to figure out who you are, who your training is. It's one, you're an encouraging speaker. Two, you got your courses and your knowledge down. And I think the knowledge with that being able to have that passion, because that passion it's contagious. Somebody could sit through a course to learn a bunch of information and just fall off because they don't have that drive. And I know me, it's like if somebody has that drive and they're teaching me, I'm gonna get excited for it. If you're not excited for it, I can't fake enthusiasm. I'm not gonna be excited for it. I gotta really try hard to pump myself up. So that is an added bonus. Your charisma is an added bonus to that. So I'm very excited to see where the Surge Electrical training and the Surge Electrical method go in the future. That's awesome.
Thank you, thank you. I find that that I knowing that you love what you do, definitely is a big, lights the fire in my belly. I love doing this,
Yep.
but also knowing that I'm always learning. I was really bad at when I first started doing electrical, because I would learn a fundamental and I'd be like, that's it. Well, what? I'm gonna do this for 30 years. But then I learned something new. I would have to go to a different company, and because I wanted to be able to master everything. And the more I was in the trade, the more I learned that, well, you can't, but you can keep growing. You can keep moving forward. And I love learning. I've really, this trade has really, ignited my passion on the learning part, and then being able to pass that knowledge over so someone can become, an electrician that was better than me, someone that could be, that can move on further, and that I'm able to be a part of that journey. I'm just excited that people pay me for that,
Yeah.
I think it's
And
amazing.
pay for what you love.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy,
awesome.
because I would give it all away for free, but I gotta eat too. But that people, understand that passion and then are able to also then create that passion in their lives by knowing that, hey, I could do this. I could learn this. This is amazing. And mostly when I see these electricians that come to my class and some come with a almost like a chip on their shoulder. They'll walk in and I'll see them, visually when they come to my classes, or I walk into their facility or their company, and you'll see them in the back and they're kind of like, I don't want to be here. And and all of a sudden, 20 minutes later, they got a smile, and you could see that connection, like, I can do this. This isn't that hard. I can figure this out. And all of a sudden that chip, it just goes away. And now they're excited about learning code, when before it was the grind, and that's what keeps me going, is seeing those individuals, understand that they too can become a code master.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because man, the negativity from other people on job sites, and especially if you want to go get your certification, you talk to people like, oh man, the code book is difficult, the thing's difficult, and you're never gonna use that stuff anyways. It's just a piece of paper. You hear all this stuff, and then you just like, then you get that chip on your shoulder, and you're just like, man, like I gotta go take this course, and I gotta learn this thing, and I gotta get this cert, and you're already in a bad place. So yeah,
Yeah.
trying to help people out of that, show them like, hey, no, it's not only it's possible, and it's exciting, it's good. I see people coming back from a lot of apprentices, they get burned out being on job sites working and doing doing grunt work.
Yeah.
But once they go to their class at whatever school they're at, they come back like 2 weeks later and they're all pumped up and they're all excited and they want to learn. And I'm like, dude, learning just lights a fire, man.
Mostly when it's mostly adult learners. The cool thing about adult learners, so I have to go learn how to teach adult learners, right? Because adult
Yeah.
learners think different than if I were to go to teach a kindergarten. If I teach a
Yeah.
kindergarten, those kids will believe everything I say.
Right. I'll take the
Adult,
kindergarten. I'll do
right?
that.
All day long. But an adult learner is so cynical. They're always
Yep.
like, I don't know about this guy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the minute that they believe that you know what you're saying, that they believe that they can to do it, it just changes their whole outlook on education in the trades.
Yeah.
Now they're like, I love this. I need to learn more because I can do it too. And that it takes away that, that, and maybe sometimes some people come into these classes when they did horrible in high school and they got to come to these classes like, oh, I don't want to be here. And they find out that they do want to be there. That they
Yeah.
can do it, that they can be just as fast in the code and they can learn these complex things. And once they get over that, they become a learner for life. It's like they want to learn more because they understand that they can, that they
Yeah.
actually can, and that it's going to be, adult learners want to learn things that are going to better their life.
Yep.
They don't want to learn something that's going to mean nothing to them. You kind of put them in our brains. We kind of, put them in compartments, and the compartment that says this is going to better my life. If it goes in there, you want to be there. You want to learn that it's going to better your life. And once they see that, like, hey, this will better your life. This will change the way you do things. This will, elevate you to a whole new place in your career. This will open new opportunities. All of a sudden, they
Yeah.
want to be there. They're like, I want to go learn more. When
Yeah.
and then you've got to get through that barrier. Once you get through that barrier, they're a lifelong learner.
What would you say? I don't know if I, what would you say to the person who has failed the test like 3 times? They took a class, maybe. I see it a lot. Guy will take a class, he'll wait like 3 months and he'll go test and he'll fail. Or they'll do like some self-paced thing. And dude, self-paced is horrible
It is.
if you're not a self-starter. I hear people like they ace it because they did a self-paced thing, but they got that discipline. A lot of people fail because they don't have that discipline. What do you say? What encouragement would you give to somebody who's failed that thing like 3, 4 times, and they don't even want to go and take it again? If you have any encouraging words for them.
I put it this way: I've had students that have taken the exam 6, 7 times. And that's even coming after, coming with me, being trained, private tutoring, you name it. We've done it all. And I keep telling them, we process things different. We're humans. All I tell them is this, is don't give up. Do
Yeah.
not give up. The minute you give up, you're giving up on yourself. Don't give up. We can do it. Let's just see what we got to work on. And we process things different. We're humans. And sometimes it doesn't mean that person that, has to take it more, knew less. It's just also the test gets to them with the test anxiety. They have to deal with all these different issues. We've just got to get yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep on going. Do not let the test get you. And if it does, clean ourselves up, brush it
Yeah.
off, get right back to study mode, and we will get there. And as discouraging as it might be, just know that once you pass that test, you'll never have to take it again. So,
Yeah.
Please
Just
take your CUs. Take your credits, of course.
Yeah, take your credits, pay them, and keep it up to date.
And you'll never have to. But that in California, because there's some states that don't have certification, but in California, that is your ticket to opportunity. And
Yeah.
you gotta fight and scratch and claw. I'll be right there, right behind you, picking you up, scratching next to you. We will cross that barrier. Just don't give up. The minute you give up, you're giving up on your career. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Keep going forward. We all learn different, but I can guarantee you this: if we hit it hard together, we'll get there.
Yep. Amen to that. It's a good word, man. Well, you're lucky, Serge. I never ask anybody who they're going to fight in the second interview. So you don't have to worry about me asking any more fighting questions like I did last time. It was a good answer.
Thank you.
I've been enjoying the responses from people because nobody expects it. That's why I know when somebody doesn't listen to the podcast. I'm like, oh, you weren't ready for this question, huh?
Once you get it, you get it. I'll
There
tell
you
you
go.
that. Well, I love seeing that you really are catching on fire, my man, which is amazing. I start to see seeing you grow as well. And very professional on your LinkedIn part too as well. So really good seeing you, on these platforms, and what you're doing here is amazing. You're giving an ear, and making sure that the trade is moving up, and the trade appreciates that, and these guys that are starting to see you and what you do, and really get with these different folks that are all part of, the movement, which is the trades, and really be able to, hit these different components. I think is amazing. So keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm loving it. I'm digging it. I see you moving around these different, platforms, and I think we see each other, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That shows growth on both parts.
The Code Buddy dudes actually told me about LinkedIn. They're like, hey, I posted a video because I was like, did a little review on their app, which is flipping awesome. I'm actually going to interview them. Maybe I think it's next week. I gotta look at my calendar. But yeah, he was like, oh, can you post on LinkedIn? I was like, LinkedIn? Why would I post on LinkedIn? And then he was like, yeah, we get a lot of traction on LinkedIn. I was like, okay, I haven't been on LinkedIn in years.
It's weird because LinkedIn is like kind of a different groove,
Yeah.
But it's also, for me, it's important to hit all the platforms where our folks are,
Yeah.
and when they start to, go your way and start to see what you do, it just opens a lot more doors. And Code Buddy, those dudes are absolutely amazing, man. They crack me up. They're just so sharp. They just sent me the first example of the surge method on Code Buddy, which I'm going to be checking out this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm super excited. I'm super excited about that. That's going to be a great collaboration right there. That's already in the mix. We're going to really highlight it on the growth convention as well.
Yeah, I actually, at the end of the little review that I did on the Instagram reel, I threw that little collab that they had, that little picture of the collab with the Surge Electrical Training and the Code Buddy on their Instagram. I was like, oh heck yeah. Screenshot, throwing that on there too.
I'll tell you, that's a really good collab. I think Code Buddy is really, they're shaking the trees, man. They're code purists are and code purists will come after anything that's different. And so, they definitely attack me as much as they attack them, because we just think in different ways, and our the way that what we do is what's best for the trade. We want to do what's best for the working electrician out there. And for me, that's a plus. So it's gonna be a good one. I'm about to watch that one for sure.
I picture the code purists as those coffee purists that only drink. They don't like it. They don't enjoy it, but they like. It looks cool that they drink black coffee all the time. That's that they hear that they taste the notes of cinnamon or whatever, and I'm like, I want a good cup of coffee. I want to enjoy this thing, right? I want to know the code, but I also want to enjoy it.
Exactly. And that's the purists are they're out there, man. This is not the way to do it, and this is the way we've done it all our time. And well, times are changing. Are changing.
You dinosaur, no. All right. Well, hey, I'll let you go, Serge Max. I know, man, you just came back from New York. You're probably tired. You can probably get some sleep.
No, dude, that city never sleeps. That's for sure. I'll tell you that. That's for sure.
Oh man. Sounds fun though, man. But I'm gonna let you go, Serge. I genuinely appreciate you coming back on, dude. And I look forward to the seeing you at the growth convention. I'll be out there for a day, and then having you on again. Talk about some more code stuff.
I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you're doing. You're doing fantastic work out there that the industry needs, and I'm seeing you grow. I'm seeing you move up, and don't forget us little folk, okay?
I'll try not to.
Thank you, brother.
All right, Serge, have a good one.
We'll talk soon.
All right, peace.